Hello, I'm Carol Ronnebaum, the Seniors Real Estate Specialist with Coldwell Banker American Home, and I'm here today with Kisha from Care Patrol. Kisha, we're practicing our social distancing with our 6 feet in between us. Do you feel comfortable removing your mask so we can have a good interview?
Definitely, that would be great.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting.
You are welcome. Well, Care Patrol, that's a new service that people may not have heard much about here in our Topeka area. What can you tell us about Care Patrol?
So Care Patrol is a little bit newer to Topeka, but not newer in general. We have been around since 1997. We were started by a social worker who was in the Arizona area, and he worked with families who were getting long-term care placement. And he was doing a follow-up one day and found a woman that was in what we would consider a psychiatric hospital today. And she kept saying, I'm not crazy. I don't have dementia. I'm fine. I shouldn't be here. So he went and talked to some of the folks that work there and said, she's been saying that for weeks. Well, he went and looked back at her chart and he found that she really did not have dementia and she had been completely misplaced.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was so sad. And he just went home that night and said, I can't do this anymore. This isn't fair to families. I'm going to start my own business finding safe and appropriate care options for people. And he did, and that's how Care Patrol started. So we are now nationwide. We are in basically every single state, and my particular portion here in this area is Shawnee and Douglas County, and then I also do some in Franklin and Osage County. And I have counterparts that do Johnson County and Wyandotte County.
Wonderful. Wow. So you're pretty across the board for our local areas here.
It's a big range.
Yes, sure. Yes. So you help the clients, the seniors and their families, select the communities, the services that they're really needing, that's tailored more towards their needs. Can you share a little bit about that with us and how you go through that process?
Sure. Most of my referrals will come either from a doctor's office, family, friends. We do all word of mouth, no advertising at all, or your local area agency on aging. And so I'll get in touch with our families. I actually do go out and meet the families in person, most of the time, COVID dependent, of course, and how comfortable that they are. But I feel like you really get to know someone a little bit better when you see them in their natural environment.
Sure.
So I'll get to know them, learn about themselves, where they came from, who they are as a person, what their needs are, what their daily life looks like, if there are special things like a particular diet that they follow, or some people that love baths but can't stand a shower, little things like that. And then we do ask a little bit about finances too, so that I make sure that the places that I take them to are all within their budget and their location. So even if somebody has children in California that they want to go and live there, I can meet with them here and then pass that on to a counterpart in California. So that they'll know what they're really looking for and who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
So once we do that, we put that into our system and it gives kind of a Netflix rating based on the communities that meet their needs, whether that's independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, or memory care. And sometimes it's just a little care in the home or the PACE program through Midland Care, something like that. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't always involve a move. And then once we narrow down that list based on what the family likes, it includes pictures, some pricing, the amenities, just general information on the communities. They'll tell me which ones they're interested in seeing and what their schedule looks like. I'll set up the tours, and then I'll actually accompany all of my clients on those tours, so that it's kind of a good little icebreaker for one.
Sure.
And then a little bit of protection too. The salespeople are a little less salesy if I'm there.
Sure.
And then we'll go out and do what my favorite part is, the parking lot exit interview of, okay, so now what did you really think about that place? And we'll just kind of narrow the list down further until we find one that's the perfect fit.
Sure. Well, good. So you have a pretty good understanding of the different communities and the different services that are available in their local communities that would be able to help with the residents' needs, your clients' needs, if you will.
Yes, the best thing with us is because we are not just one community trying to solve for that community. We're really looking for clients and being advocates for them. So we know where those best fits are, and then everyone is a little bit different in what they can take care of and what they're good at versus what they might not be. So some places do an excellent job in their independent living, but I might not necessarily refer to them for a higher level of care, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really nice to be able to go in and know all that background information. You know, because we keep such good tabs on the communities, I know if there's management change. I talk to my clients after they've moved in, you know, on a relatively ongoing basis, just to see, are you still happy? Has anything changed? And of course, the first thing anyone talks about is if the chef has changed. The food either got really good or really bad, and that's the number one thing I
That's
hear
always
about.
the important thing.
Oh yes, very much so.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So how do you qualify your clients for the different communities?
Part of it, of course, is financial that we look at because that can be a complete range.
So you do actually help them look at their financial situation and evaluate if they're um, able to financially afford the different communities and services.
Exactly, and how long that is going to last realistically.
Oh,
You know, if I'm
nice.
looking for someone who is 70 years old, I'm going to be looking at different aspects than I will someone who's 92,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. If they want to make sure that this is the only time they ever move and how possible that really is, we'll take that into consideration. A lot of times I feel like people think this is the final move, I'll never have to move again, and unfortunately that's not always the case. So that's something else that we look at, and if they're
Mm-hmm.
willing to say, hey, in 10 years I might be able to move again, okay, that opens up a few more doors.
Mm-hmm.
And then physical abilities. You know, some of the communities are really handicap accessible where you can roll a wheelchair all the way up to the sink because there's no cabinetry underneath. Others aren't quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes a big difference. Some of the independent livings offer on site care, so you can live there for a longer period of time before having to move to a different level of care. Whether they accept Medicaid in the
Sure.
future is a big one too.
Mm-hmm.
And then where your family is, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and friends. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing is if you are 5 or 10 minutes down the street, no matter what they say, eventually it's easier to visit someone who's that close than it is if they're 45 minutes or an hour away.
Sure, that's true. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
kind of try and look at everything, and pets, for example. Those are big questions from a lot of people because most facilities or communities didn't used to accept pets, and that is rapidly changing.
That's what I'm understanding.
Which
That,
is great.
yes, it is. Pets are such an important part of our families nowadays, where they weren't even 10 or 15 years ago.
Exactly. You know,
So
it's just a farm dog. You know,
yeah.
we can leave him behind. He'll figure it out or something.
Right.
It's just not true anymore.
No, no.
Or
Exactly.
transportation, level of activities, all different kinds of things.
Good. Well, there's so many. Topeka is very blessed to have so many different communities and levels of services that they're able to provide here for the residents of senior communities, senior people, and their families. And having someone like yourself to help them evaluate the different services and the different needs has to be very comforting.
It is, and it saves a lot of time.
Oh, sure.
You don't have to go and call all of these different communities or go and tour them just to find out at the end when you ask, well, you take Medicaid, right? Oh, no, we don't. Well, it could have saved 2 hours.
Sure.
Of your time there.
Sure.
Or why it might not be a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's one community that they will accept Medicaid, but they won't do a two-person transfer. And so it's only for a lot of people, depending on what your diagnosis is, that's a solution for a short amount of time.
I see.
Not long term.
Uh-huh.
But it's
those kinds of things that come from experience of knowing what a disease progression looks like and what the likely outcomes are, to make you go, well, I know it looks really nice and sounds great, but it's probably not the best option for you, and here's why. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's always what the client wants.
Sure, sure, yes. So having someone experienced like yourself that knows the questions to ask and knows the history, maybe of the different communities, has to be so helpful.
Oh, sure.
To the clients.
And the testimonials too.
Yes.
You know, you can go online and look at Google reviews, but you don't really know who wrote that.
This is true.
It can be a disgruntled employee or somebody that the owner's best friend wrote. So I've been able to tell some of my clients,
weed through some of that.
Yeah, like, actually, I've got someone that is living there right now. Why don't let me see if I can have them contact you or give you their information.
Oh, nice.
And you can talk to somebody, you know, one-on-one and give them your real opinion.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You have such an interesting service that you're providing. Is there some things that maybe I haven't asked you today that you'd like to share with us?
Sure. I think that people feel like we only work for, you know, one community or one type of service, and we really don't. So if someone calls and asks me to come out and meet with them, I promise I will always tell you what the best option is right then, whether it's something that helps me or not. For example, home care. I've had some people that have been thinking they needed assisted living or skilled nursing when really they just need a few hours a week of home care. I'm not going to move you out of your house for that. My goal is to preserve as much of your independence and your assets and integrity as I possibly can. And so if it's just a little bit of home care, I will make that referral out to home care companies. I'll tell you, you know, the top 2 or 3 that I generally work with, give you their contact information and say, you know, these are the ones that you should interview. You definitely want to go and see at least 2 or talk to 2. Hopefully 3, and these are the questions to ask them. And part of that was my background in home care before I got into this, so I'm pretty familiar with that. Other ones are, you know, can you do all right in an independent living with a little extra care versus spending the extra money for an assisted living?
Right.
Or can an assisted living or a home plus meet your needs just as well as a skilled nursing can, with a more home-like natural environment? And then we refer out for other services too. So I keep, you know, good relationships with people like yourself when it's time to sell a house or to downsize. I have a short list of people I work with there. A few attorneys in town that will do Medicaid or veterans benefits work for people to help them pay for the care that they need. All the way up to moving companies and occasionally a hairstylist or 2. That's been an interesting one. No one's asked me to walk the dog yet, but I'm sure it's coming one of these days.
Oh, my goodness, your resources sounds like they're pretty unlimited to help your clients meet their needs. Now, are your services, is it private pay? How are your services paid for?
We are 100% free to the clients because we are reimbursed by the communities that we work with. So for them, it's really a marketing expense, and it's similar to a real estate agent. So we never ever charge the clients a dime, regardless of what they need or how many times we're in and out of the picture with them. It's always just back on the communities. And then with a Medicaid placement, that's actually just something we do out of the kind of goodness of our hearts and how we were based with the social work, because you're never allowed to make money off of a Medicaid placement.
I understand.
Including, you know, the assisted livings and places like that. So we just do that for good karma.
Well, wonderful. Well, Kisha, thank you so much for coming in today and visiting with us about your services, and it's something that I can only think that so many seniors would want to take advantage of and contact you about. So Could you please share with us your name and your contact information, the name of your business again, and how people can get a hold of you?
And thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
My name is Kisha Steineger. I work with Care Patrol of Northeast Kansas. You can reach me either directly on my cell phone, which is area code 785-766-9005. You're also welcome to text me, or you can email me at ksteineger, which is KSTEINEGER @carepatrol.com.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
You bet.